good morning, or afternoon, or possibly night. I'm Corcanum of Factually Fictitious, and today I'm here to talk to you about something near and dear to my heavy burden of a heart. This is my spoiler-free review of Howl's Moving Castle. Now, the only reason the 5 people watching my channel do it is because I've badgered friends I met through Ghibli films into watching the channel. So I'll assume you've already seen the Ghibli film. I'm here to talk about the book today. A lot of people who are fans of the book are pretty hostile about the movie, because it changed a lot. The basic setting is sort of there, along with the premise, but a lot has been changed, and it goes in a radically different direction. But, I believe, it arrived at the same point. The same themes as the book. Different plot, same themes. I enjoy both the book and the movie. Both of them mean something very important to me and to this channel. So, let's get into it. Sophie is the oldest of 3 sisters. Their father has died, and, together with their stepmother, they run a hat shop. Their world has a superstition that the eldest child is destined for failure. Her stepmother sets up one sister as an apprentice to a baker, and the other as the apprentice to a wizard, leaving the shop to Sophie. Howl is a wizard with an enchanted castle that moves about the countryside and a magical door which can open to a number of different preset locations, using doors Howl already has located there. Howl is being pursued by the Witch of the Waste, who curses Sophie after she crosses paths with Howl. Sophie is turned into an old woman, so she leaves home and takes shelter in the castle. She becomes the cleaning lady and quickly imposes her will on Howl's home.
Still in my house. My house.
You really think this is still your house?
Howl has also had a curse placed on him by the witch, which he is running away from. Howl's friend, a wizard named Solomon, has gone missing, as has a foreign prince, resulting in the war. The world is positively falling apart. Howl is running from the witch, the war, and the women which he has had romantic affairs with. As Sophie calls him, he's a slither-outer. Accompanying him is the fire demon Calcifer, bound to Howl on a contract, and his apprentice, Michael, a 15-year-old replaced by the 10-year-old Markle in the film. I've long enjoyed the books. I typically go through at least Howl's Moving Castle, the first in the series, once a year. I accept the differences between the book and the movie. I don't need the stories to be the same, though I understand and respect the people who simply can't stand objects of their affection being changed so radically. It's just, for me, for all the changes made for the film, the heart of the story is essentially the same. Sophie has 2 sisters in the book, not one. The other girl is that girl Martha mentioned in the beginning of the film.
Did you hear what happened to that girl Martha from South Haven? They say Howl tore her heart out.
The year is not apparent in the book, but it is post-Renaissance and pre-Industrial Revolution, so the technology is more advanced in the film. The Witch of the Waste does not become one of the good guys, and the Scarecrow, Heen, and Solomon are very different in the book. The books are appropriate for preteens and older. They're accessible for children as young as 10, but not dull for adults. Accessible and enjoyable for pretty much all ages. Howl, I think, is something other authors should strive for. It's set in the land of Ingri, where there is magic. The world is delightfully crafted. And a major bonus for a fantasy story about witches and wizards, this book wasn't written by a cruel, heartless bigot leveraging her immense platform and privilege to demonize transgender people. Diana Wynne Jones was rather witty, and we are blessed with that to full effect in this book. There's a war going on in the story, but it's not as much at the front of things as it is in the film. The novel uses fairy tale/fantasy tropes to question and toy with power structures and societal expectations, and to turn them on their head. This was something Jones was rather fond of and experienced with, as seen in The Rough Guide to Fantasyland and the Dirkholm duology. Side note, it is conceivable that Howl is set in the same world as Dirkholm, over 40 years before. The book is followed by 2 sequels, each with different characters in different countries, but Sophie, Howl, and Calcifer do make appearances. I made a mistake and accidentally read the 3rd one second. The sequels are Castle in the Air, which adapts stories from 1001 Nights and features a carpet merchant named Abdullah in Zanzib to the south of Ingri, and House of Many Ways, featuring a young woman named Charmaine who is house-sitting a magic home in the kingdom of High Norland to the north of Ingri. I don't think this book is as good as the other 2, but it's still quite good. The Ghibli film is an adaptation of the theme more than the plot. Like translating dialogue or lyrics, you stay true to the spirit, not the words. And I think that really makes the movie an adaptation filmmakers should strive towards. An adaptation is adaptation, not translation. Translation would just be writing the story of the book but putting it on film. Films and books have many differences to be considered. Their story structures simply do not work in each other's format. When this is done, we're left with a terrible movie which no one enjoys. But I don't want to crap on bad movies today. Only on that rolling monster. She had some lovely movies made based on her books, too. Really improved on her work. A lot needed to be changed by people who had more talent and less malice than her. This is unlike Howl's Moving Castle, where the books are lovely on their own. And, again, they're books by an author who didn't go on to incite a mob of right-wing bigots. The movie is from a post-9/11 world and is made by a Japanese artist in Japan. The novel uses fairy tale/fantasy tropes to question and toy with power structures. The movie uses fantasy tropes and anime tropes, with heavy Ghibliism and Miyazakiism, and it goes after power structures, societal expectations, and the message society is given. Emphasis is increased on the war in the movie. It's an anti-war film, Miyazaki's way of processing and communicating his thoughts and condemnation of the Second Gulf War. In the process, putting propaganda and militarism behind the message of the book. We should question power structures and societal expectations. That includes gender roles, interpersonal relationships, and now the media and government. And this makes the Ghibli film a worthy addition to the world of the books, despite all the differences. The heart of the film is born of the book. If you enjoy what the movie was, you'll be sure to enjoy the books as well. I'd give Howl's Moving Castle 9 stars out of 10. Almost perfect, but I'm hesitant to give anything a 10.
To be Marianne with a grew, a gath with a scrum Johnny Bach. To be Marianne with a grew, a gath with a scrum Johnny Bach. Sosban